Hello and welcome, it's Amanda here. Welcome to Arts and Wellness Wednesdays. Thank you for joining me and thank you for being in my creative space. I always like to do these sessions as if you've just, I was going to say, stumbled in to my studio, but I welcome you into my studio space, the place where I feel really at home. I really love being in this space, and it's where I express myself creatively. And so I wanted to touch on a few things. I haven't really structured today's session, and for those of you who would normally watch this recording, I normally put it out a lot earlier, but there was a few things that I needed to do today, and today here in Barbados it's our day to go out shopping. So normally I would have done my recording a lot earlier and then posted it, but I was just in a place where I had to stop, and we all know the events that have taken place, and the young man George, who was murdered by the police officers, and it's a reminder of the state of the world, and the state of things in terms of what black people of colour experience on a day-to-day, in terms of, you know, discrimination. And when you look at all of the weaved into laws and, you know, where people live and the economics of it all, and support for businesses and small businesses not getting any support, black businesses, black owned businesses not getting any support, not being able to live where you want because you either can't afford the rent, places are being gentrified, not getting mortgages because you're black, and how there's been lots of information come out, not just now, but information come out about how this is not just started, it's been going on for decades. I remember my dad went to the bank to try and get a loan for a mortgage, and all it was £500. So back in the day, so I was little, back in the day I was little, £500, and the bank turned him down for us to get our own home. I think we ended up, the place, we were in 2 rooms, the place ended up, a guy was murdered, and so we were then, and a guy was murdered, one of the tenants, no, he wasn't murdered actually, he hung himself. And then, so I must have been about 5, and it's funny, these things you remember. So the roof started coming in, and my brother had been laying on the bed, and the roof, a bit of the roof, the ceiling came down and just missed him, and so we were then put into a hostel, and and then after a while we were then put into a 3-bedroom apartment. But it's to say that, you know, it's intrinsic in our day-to-day lives, and the effects of it, black people and people of colour feel it on a day-to-day. It's not always in your face, but you know that there are, you know, there's things that you think, that didn't feel quite right, or you know it's blatant that you didn't get something, not because of your ability, or, you know, you've got more than enough qualifications, but because of your colour. And so for those of you who will never ever be able to understand how deep it goes, that it's not as simple as oh, you know, you got a chip on your shoulder, or oh, you've got a. It's about the fact that, you know, we learn to cope and get on, and we have to work doubly hard, twice as hard, to get a job that somebody else who's not black, who doesn't even have the qualifications, but they're not black, so they'll get it. But what I wanted to touch on is that there are lots of, if you want to kind of give your support, show your support. If you are white and you don't know what to say, you don't know how to move forward in support of friends that you may have, or, you know, just black people in general, then there's lots of, you know, check out some of the black accounts, check out some of the black artists. So I'm going to be talking about visual artists. There's on my Instagram account, I've been sharing Rachel, Queen Patronette, I'm saying it wrong, Queen Patronette. Anyway, I've been sharing her posts. She's been posting black artists and sharing them, and I've been sharing them on my story and putting them in a highlight for artists to check out. So if you're a visual art, if you're an artist and you want to, you know, check out other black artists and see the kind of work that they've been doing, because, you know, and some, I mean, quite a few of them I haven't even come across myself, and so it's really great to be able to see so many other artists, because you sometimes feel that you're kind of swimming in a sea on your own, and especially when, you know, you're focused on your work and, you know, the little time you do have to kind of spend on social media, you're, you know, trying to promote your work and all the rest of it. So it's great to come across a lot of the work by other artists, and it's really quite inspiring. So that's another bit of time I've got to kind of schedule in to looking at some of these artists. Really brilliant. And also the day for me is moving quite quickly. So we're going to have sunset in about 45 minutes. So yeah, I wanted to just come and touch base with you all, and just to say, you know, you've got to also find time to rest, time to step back, time to, you know, quieten the noise of everything that's going on. And, you know, we feel for the families who have lost their loved ones through, you know, either being murdered, killed through racism, and it's just, I was watching it was another video, and I've just given myself a break from watching the videos, because yeah, one of the things I wanted to say was just like it's got to such an extent that you can, like, you know, those two, the father and son who killed the jogger, the black guy who was jogging, I can't remember his name, and it's to think that you can get away with it, to think that, and they do, to think that you've got your knee on somebody's neck, you're looking up at a person videoing you, and you can just kneel there with this person under you crying out and not flinch, there's nothing. That it's got to that extent that somebody feels that they can take the life of another person just because of their colour. And it is sickening. So we do have to make a stand. And as an artist, I do so through my work. I'm trying to do so through my work, because one of the things I was thinking of was that, you know, I do mixed media, and so I do a range of different things, and I've shared about, you know, the different types of materials that I use, you know, from art journaling to painting to working with wood, bringing them all together, sculpting, stitching. And I thought to myself, you know, you try and, or you think about the idea of, like, even when you look at your Instagram feed, that, oh, you want it to look all neat and tidy and, you know, kind of, well, you know, if you want to make an impact. Sorry, the dog is just coming because it's his time. I'm in his time now. But I just thought you have to share, you know, you have to share what you do. It doesn't have to be all prettily packaged and, you know, after every image you've got a quote, or you've got this, or you've got an image, or I mean, you can if you want. If that's working for you, that's fine. I was just like, I just don't have the time to. I was trying to work out. So I've got to post 9 images, and then I post an image of my face, and then I post a quote, and then what do I post, a video, or do I do? And it was just like, just share where you are, where you're at, and just do you. The focus is what you do. The focus is showing up and being present and being yourself, and not trying to emulate, you know, whoever else there is out there that you think, oh, I need to be more like that. Because, you know, you see so many artists with their stuff together, you just think, oh wow, you know. But it takes time, and who's to say that somebody's not looking at you and saying, oh my gosh, she's got her stuff together and so inspiring, or whatever. And so you just have to continually show up. And I thought to myself, I would let go of the anxiety that sometimes comes with just pressing post, or just pressing record and upload, or whatever it is. And I decided not to worry about it. And, you know, so what you'll see is, you know, these are my, you know, my thoughts, my things that I'm thinking about, maybe going through, or talking about, touching on, or I'm speaking about them because there's an impulse to do that, and to add my voice to the mix, and but to come from a creative standpoint. So for the longest I haven't really journaled. I mean, I've done bits and pieces, but not in the way that I have done prior. And I have been doing more kind of art journal pages where, you know, there may be a few sentences or words, or and I shared one recently, but I think it's finding ways. What I was thinking about was how to find ways to be able to continue to voice where you're at, what you're thinking of, and what matters to you, and what's going on. And the thing that keeps coming up, well, one of the things that keep coming up is just like, well, when you take this situation, how is it going to play out? You know, how is it going to be? I mean, this year, because of Corona and, you know, no flights, my son wasn't able to go to his summer camp in the States. But, you know, there's next year, you know, or if he decides to travel after everything's gone back to a new normal. And I'm thinking of his safety, and, you know, you think of those things that, you know, what if my son was in a situation where, and, you know, for the families, it's a never-ending cycle of thoughts about what they couldn't do to help, you know, the seeing their sons or their daughters, grandchildren, you know, taken from them senselessly. And so that was weighing on my mind, and coupled with what I feel is my responsibility as an artist, to show up and to share, to create, and to touch on the things that either inspiring me, or I feel led to create, because you never know who around the world will need to hear what it is you've got to say. So yeah, I feel that there is a responsibility there, and that as creatives, again, whether you know are a visual artist, or you write, or you take photographs, you dance, you theatre, then we do have a responsibility to nurture our craft and to work on it and to really develop it, because you're always developing. And social commentary as well, you know, the idea that as artists, it was something that I was shying away from, because I was just like, what if I just want to draw pretty pictures, you know? But the reality is that the work, so I'm speaking to myself, the reality is the work that you do, it is about the impact that it will have on somebody else, that somebody else will look at your work and feel something. It isn't, for you, it isn't about pretty pictures, it's about dealing with situations, and they may not be necessarily so blatant as, you know, but there are things woven into it. So, and when I look at, a lot of my sculptures are next door. When I look at my sculptures, I'll probably put some in so that you can see. When I look at the sculptures, it is about talking about a story, talking about someone's story, talking about someone's feelings, talking about what somebody could be going through right now and they weren't able to share it, but then they see an image or they see a sculpture which speaks to them and helps them then articulate what they need, you know, things that they need to say or say to someone, or, you know, so it's very powerful. And so, as I said, you know, we have a responsibility, and you can't run anymore. Again, speaking to myself, I can't run anymore. I can't hide away from it, and you just have to get on with it, you know. So you have to have courage, you have to be brave, you have to step out. There will always be somebody who doesn't understand, who doesn't get it, who doesn't like it, and it's not for those people. You know, it doesn't matter. And maybe somebody else who sees it might refer to it in a way that they can get it or they understand, or, you know, it's not everybody's gonna, you know, sorry about that. trying to get comfy. Yeah, not everybody's gonna get it, and not everybody's gonna like it, and it doesn't matter, because there's 7.7 billion people in the world, and if it were only 1% of that 7.7, I did the calculations on 7 billion, but it's 75 million, might be 76, 77, I don't know, you do the maths. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base, and I wanted to share that, and I will be adding an art journal page. What am I working on at the moment? I've got I've got a portrait to do, and I was running away from it. I was running away from it because I don't normally do commissions, but I'm doing this portrait, and I thought that I would do it not in the style that I was thinking. I was going to do it because that's the quickest way. The way that I've chosen is just like, really? Really? I've never done it before. I've never done a fabric portrait before. And so that's what I want to do. When I think about it as a painted portrait, I'm thinking I'm not inspired at all, and I've been dragging my feet. But when I think about a fabric portrait in the style of there's an amazing artist called Bisa Butler, and I love her fabric portraits. And so I thought I would just try. I would do it, and yeah, make it like a wall hanging. I want to do something different. So that's one of the things I'm working on. The other things I'm working on, I would have shown you my wall hangings. So what I've started doing is the backing for them. So like I've just done some simple stitching, and I've now got to add the wood and some additional things. So I'm taking everything to its next stage. So this now needs the wood, and it's going to have some other mixed media elements on there. When I first showed them, it was just like, okay, they're done now, and it's just like, you know, they're not done. And then this one that I shared with you, I've given it the same, similar it's the same fabric. I like the way that the, I guess it's the burlap, the way that it blends in with the brown of the fabric, and then you've got some red, well, this is like a burgundy, but you've got some pinks that kind of also pick up. They're all in the same kind of colour tones. And then this particular one, this one as well, I've kind of done the backing. I've just got to add some edging, and again some other pieces which are going to be added to this. And yeah, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And I've also got to remember to sweating, I'm hot. It's like you're in the tropics. Why are you wearing a cardi? And I'm wearing a cardigan because yesterday I was so ill. I was just like, I was sneezing non-stop. I was hot, I was cold. And so what I did to raise my body temperature was just to, I just covered up. I was wearing 3 layers. I had this on in the end. And whilst I was hot, it was just like, I knew that if I'd taken the things off, I would have been sneezing again. I was like, you know, lying down and getting, you know, lying down for a bit, trying to rest. My eyes were hurting me. So, yeah, I need to keep my body temperature at a certain level, because I think it's probably because I've not been eating properly over the last couple of days. I hadn't really had as much fruit as I would normally, so I've addressed that now. So, but yeah, what I've been doing with the artwork is, you know, because I'm working on several pieces at a time, what you may have seen a few days ago, like I did a video of the shades of green, I've called it, of this one. But this was just the front that you saw. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually finishing it. It's just like, just focus on this one, finish it. But again, having to get my priorities, because I have to start this other portrait, which I'll probably do tomorrow. I'll have to do tomorrow because I'm going to have to sort out this video and get it up. And Cole needs to go out for his little jog around the place, and he was not well either yesterday. He puked up all his food, which I found this morning, so he must have been starving last night. Anyway, and his belly's been making some odd noises, so I'll probably just give him a light meal today. But yeah, I want you to just think about how you're feeling right now, and think about the things that you need to get you back on track. To think about if there aren't doors opening, new doors opening for you, where it is about you standing up and taking a stand and being more vocal about what you're doing and talking about what you're doing. I talk about the impact of the arts on our health and well-being, and right now is an important time to be creating and to be sharing, because, as I say, you know, as artists, creatives, we have a responsibility, because others are not able to express themselves in the way that when we express ourselves through art, it brings about healing, and it can, you know, you can look at somebody's work, or somebody, I've heard this, you know, people say, you know, I was looking at that piece of art made me cry, or, you know, they really relate to, or they don't know what it is about that art. And so as artists, we, as I say, you know, we have to show up, we have to do the work that we need to do. We've also got to remember to do the work on ourselves, and that's where you have to take a step back and regroup and nurture yourself, because you're always giving, you know, you're always creating. And it's not every artist that feels, you know, they have a responsibility to anybody. You know, it is just about, for them, it is just about making pretty art. But, you know, art and creativity is a great way to express yourself, and sometimes you're expressing yourself in ways that you don't even imagine. So I look forward to connecting with you. You know, do leave a comment, do check out some of the other Arts in Health videos, and yeah, let's move forward. Check out the I've listed in my Instagram stories of the highlight. The highlight is titled Artists to Check Out. So check out some of those artists, go and show them some love, see what they're doing, share their work, and, you know, maybe they'll inspire you to in some way. I mean, a couple of the ones that I just kind of just looked into, it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, it's so interesting. Yeah, so we have to do the work, we have to show up, we have to speak out for injustices. We can't just, you know, say, okay, well, it's not happening to me, so, or, you know, well, you just switch off your TV and you go about, you know, doing the things that you would normally do, or you think, okay, I don't really want to talk about it, or I don't really want to mention it because, you know, but for the people who are going through it, they can't just switch off their TV, they can't just, you know, do something else and forget about it. It is their lived experience, and whatever we can do to support each other is what we need to do. Okay, so take care for now. Look forward to hearing from you. Take care for now.